And welcome everyone to today's episode of Relive the Magic. I am your host, Dallas Thompson, and today I will be joined by my friend Alex Storis. And today we will be discussing some Disney Plus news regarding the Muppets and Pixar. We'll be giving our predictions on what's coming up in the new Wandavision episode this Friday, and we will also be talking about a new attraction coming to the Avengers campus area at Disneyland California Adventure. But before we get started with all of that, I just wanted to let you know, if you like this content you see, feel free to subscribe to our YouTube channel. It would help support us, as well as if you could like, comment, subscribe, share this with any of your friends. And then also, if you have the means, we'd love it if you could send in a tip at streamelements.com/relivethemagic/tip. That'll help support the channel again and help us continue to grow in our equipment and our quality and just every area as well. We'd appreciate that. You can send in your topics, questions, comments, concerns, anything you may have, and anything you want to hear us talk about or discuss. You can follow us on Twitter at RTM Magic Podcast. You can find us on Instagram at Relive Magic. You can find us on Spotify if you just want to hear this audio podcast on the go. And with that, let's get on with the show. Okay, so our first topic today is in the world of Disney, Disney Plus, and movies. And the first topic is actually about something I haven't heard about in a while, and that is the Muppets, specifically the Muppet Show, the original one from many years ago, is coming to Disney Plus, seasons 1 through 5, which is awesome because I remember back when the Muppet movies came out a few years ago, the Muppets and the Muppets Most Wanted. I tried to get into the show and buy all the seasons on Blu-ray or DVD. I really can only find season 1, 2, and 3 separately, and they didn't really have it all together. So for basically, at least from what I understand, this will be the first time that that all the seasons are together in one place, and it's a very classic show. And from what I've seen, I enjoy it a lot. It's very funny. It's very well made, and it's just a classic. So it's pretty exciting that this will be coming to Disney Plus, and hopefully it's a sign that Disney will start to use the characters more often and in more ways than they have before, because it's really been years since we've seen anything new from the Muppets. But they're very popular, very beloved, and it's a very popular franchise. So, Alex, do you have any thoughts on this, and do you have any memories to do with the Muppets or the movies or the show?
It's interesting how Disney is always like revamping, like trying to like rebrand like their new, like their new classic original. Classic concepts and stuff throughout time. As time progresses, they want people to to remember, to keep spreading on how childhood, like people, they want to bring people's childhood back to life.
Yeah, and it'll introduce it to a bunch of kids who haven't experienced the show before, which is great. I predict this is probably a sign of new things to come. I hope they'll make a third Muppet film in the new series, Muppet Films. I've heard they're going to be bringing the Muppets into the parks a lot more than they currently are, which is great because in California, I know you guys don't have Muppet Vision anymore, and here in Florida, it's not very popular here. Yeah, so hopefully this is a sign that the Muppets will start to be included a lot more because they're great characters.
That's how when I got into the Muppets, I actually went to Disney California Adventure, and when I was a kid, and stuff, I got into that's how I got into it a little bit. The attraction was this lot of humor in it. It's very it has a story, but it has more there's a purpose. These characters have build up integrity.
Yeah, I mean, and they can be used in so many different ways. And yeah, I think there's a lot of potential to bring them back in the parks and the movies. The TV shows they've tried to do with them haven't really gone as well. They tried to do it on Disney Plus recently. It didn't really get any attention. I didn't really hear anyone talking about it, at least. It was a short form show earlier this last year. Then they had the show on ABC a few years ago, and it got some pretty bad response from it, and some people liked it, but it wasn't the same. So hopefully they bring this back, and hopefully that's a sign of things to come. Maybe they'll bring a new season of the Muppet Show itself. That'd be really cool, especially maybe with some of today's celebrities or whatever. That'd be pretty funny. So what do you guys think? Let us know in the comment section below, or you can send us in a tip and just talk about what you think. If you have any memories of the Muppets that you want to share, predictions for how they'll be used in the future, feel free to share that with us. And let's move on to topic number 2, which is about the France Pavilion at Epcot, which we talked about a few days ago. If you don't know, Epcot is expanding its France Pavilion to include a brand new Ratatouille attraction. Well, it's not brand new. They've had it in Paris for a while. It's a screen attraction with a trackless ride vehicle, kind of like Rise of the Resistance and Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway and a few other attractions as well. But that should be opening sometime soon. It's supposed to open last year, but, the pandemic stopped that, like it stopped many things. And rumor has it it'll be opening pretty soon, but just the other day, the walls came down in front of the France Pavilion expansion, and then a couple days later, yesterday or the day before that, they let guests in that area, but only because in the Morocco Pavilion nearby, the bathrooms were closed, and they needed more bathrooms open. So basically, all that's open in that area is the bathrooms. But it's a good opportunity. Man. I mean, all the Disney bloggers and stuff rushed out to see the area, which, if you're nearby, that's fun. But all it was really bathrooms, and you got a little bit of a closer look of the area. But the full area of the restaurant, the ride is not yet open, but I think it'll probably open pretty soon. And if it does, we will for sure cover it, talk about it, post about it. But it's a good opportunity to talk about the area coming up. Epcot's been in need of some new things for a while, and they're getting it with that and the Guardians of the Galaxy ride coming up. Have you ever seen any videos of this Ratatouille ride they're opening?
Like I've seen the ride. I've seen some ride POV on the one in Paris.
Yeah, it'll be the same exact thing. It looks pretty cool. I mean, looks like at least from what I've seen, looks like a standard screen ride to me.
Yeah, like kind of reminds of Relive the Resistance, but a little bit just minor differences.
It reminds me more of like Spider-Man and Transformers, to be honest, because I think it really is just moving around screens and some props here and there.
Too much like physical sense, yeah.
Yeah, but I guess we'll see, and just hopefully in a few short weeks, whenever it opens, I'll go and I'll report on it. I'll take videos or whatever, and we can talk about it here. But yeah, that was just a quick thing I wanted to mention. All right, so our next news topic is about a show that comes out tomorrow on Disney Plus. Not only is Wandavision episode 3 coming out, which we'll talk about here in a few minutes, but also this collection of shorts called Pixar Popcorn will be coming out. It's basically 6 or 8 episodes of 2 to 5 minute Pixar short films revolving around characters from Coco, Soul, Cars, Finding Dory, Toy Story, and The Incredibles. And they're going to be dropping all of them at once tomorrow on Friday. And once it's out, I'll talk about them a little bit. But this is really cool. I don't think this is the first thing Pixar has done exclusively for Disney Plus, but it's like it's taking several of their very popular IPs and putting them all on Disney Plus with exclusive content. And I think that's really cool. They announced this a few weeks ago at the Disney Investors meeting, and they announced the other day what would be in it and when it's coming out, and that is this Friday. What franchise would you say you're most excited to see something new from on this?
Definitely Finding Nemo.
Yeah, I think, from what I understand, I think it's Dory specifically. But either way, that'll be cool. I think I'm most excited to see something from either Cars or Soul. Soul was really good, and I'm surprised they're already releasing something new from Soul, but I mean, I guess they can. And then Cars, I'm sure they'll be able to do something cool with that. And then The Incredibles as well. That'll be good. Um, I think that revolves around. I think that revolves around Jack after Incredibles 2 playing with his powers some more. So I'm sure that'll be great.
Oh man, I can't wait for that.
Yeah. Um, but yeah, this Friday, Pixar Popcorn will release, and it'll be our first time seeing a lot of these characters in several years. And supposedly, I read supposedly somewhere that they will be doing this again in the future with some of their other franchises. It's interesting to me they're really only focusing on franchises they've used in the last 5 years or so, and I think that's probably because of the animation style. Probably made it easier to use those than some of their earlier films like Ratatouille or Up. Like those are very popular movies people have been wanting to see things from for a while. So that was a little surprising to me. But there is an Up show coming up as well with the dog. I think it's called Doug Days, and that'll be coming up pretty soon. So that should be good. But yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing some Pixar on Disney Plus, and it'll be pretty good. Do you have anything else to say about that?
I'm definitely am excited for like how like they're expanding like more content with Incredibles, and they're expanding like continuing off more like Dory's, maybe possibly we'll see, but and especially Soul that has been released last year and stuff on Disney Plus. That was such an incredible film.
Yeah, that movie was great. And that one was Disney Plus exclusive. It wasn't supposed to be, but it was, which I thought was great. I think that was the first original Pixar content they had on there. I could be wrong, but I think it was. And so this will be the first real thing that they intended for Disney Plus. So I'm also looking forward to seeing like the quality of these compared to like just how much they put into this, because it'll be interesting to see what they put into the Pixar and the animated stuff as opposed to the Marvel and the Star Wars stuff for Disney Plus. Because this stuff is also important too, because Disney's main audience is families and children, and this stuff oftentimes appeals more to the younger children than, say, WandaVision or The Mandalorian would. So I'm just interested to see the quality they put in to this, and I look forward to watching it tomorrow.
Me too. It's amazing how Pixar is like just keeps expanding. Like it's amazing how like they always do what they do.
All right, so our next topic is still Disney, but it is the Disney parks, which is really cool because we haven't had anything really new to talk about with the Disney parks that's not depressing news, like the annual passes ending or Magical Express ending or Extra Magic Hours ending, like things ending or closing. Something's going to be opening at some point soon, hopefully. The Avengers campus area at Disneyland in California will be opening at some point. It was supposed to open last year in July, but of course Disneyland has been closed for quite a while now and still hasn't reopened. And that's more than likely why they haven't given an opening date yet. Supposedly it's ready to go and at least close. And we know that because they actually released a video just a couple of days ago of Tom Holland from when he recorded his part as Spider-Man and Peter Parker in the new Spider-Man Web Slingers attraction, the pre-show and the ride itself. And we actually saw clips of him riding the ride, talking about the ride. And this ride looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. I know you live in California, so you'll get on it way before I do, but what are you most looking forward to about this ride?
Just the fact that how, here on the West Coast that we're seeing new attractions, new immersive lands. So it's like, I'm really looking forward to it. And also like hopefully maybe I'll see like other difference when I visit Florida.
Yeah, and this will be the first like big new attraction that Disney is making for the Marvel universe. They made Guardians of the Galaxy Mission Breakout there a few years ago, but that was just a redo of Tower of Terror. They're making Guardians of the Galaxy roller coaster, which is supposed to be awesome out here in Florida. And they're also working on an Avengers ride there in California to open later. But this is the first big, brand new Avengers Marvel ride they're making. So this will be really cool to see. I mean, they knocked it out of the park with Star Wars, Rise of the Resistance, and Millennium Falcon, and just the whole area. And arguably, Marvel's become more popular than Star Wars in the last few years. I think we can say that safely. And it'll be interesting to see what they do with this ride, and specifically Spider-Man. I mean, they're going to have that animatronic that's swinging around outside, the animatronic Spider-Man that they showed in that Imagineering story documentary. I don't know if you've seen that on Disney Plus or not.
I did.
That thing's awesome. That figure or that animatronic. If they can pull that off, that'll be on another level. The ride itself seems pretty cool. It seems on the outside, it's another ride where you're kind of playing along, like Toy Story Mania or Buzz Lightyear. I don't know if you guys have something like that out there.
Yeah, we have
both of those.
System.
Okay. But this one you'll be able to like basically do web slinging, and it'll be part of the ride experience. Like that'll be how you interact with it, and that'll be pretty cool. It's a 3D ride, which the Spider-Man ride here in Florida is. They're not at all the same thing, by the way, just to clear that up. Obviously that Spider-Man ride was made like decades ago. This one's using new technology, and it will be using the Marvel Cinematic Universe Spider-Man, which we learned by seeing the video with Tom Holland. It was also confirmed that it won't be an animatronic of him in the pre-show, as they had said. Or I read this somewhere that there was confusion. It'll be like a holographic type thing, like they did with Rey in Rise of the Resistance. Spoiler alert, my bad. But this ride looks like this ride looks pretty promising. I'm looking forward to seeing videos of it surface. But really, the whole area, I think, is going to be really cool. I was reading about it before the show started. There's going to be the typical restaurants, gift shops, meet and greets. But there's going to be a Doctor Strange area. There's going to be the Spider-Man ride. And then there's going to be later on an Avengers Quinjet ride, where you're riding in the Avengers Quinjet going to locations like Wakanda, and they say many others. And they say that's the big e-ticket attraction, probably on the level of something like Rise of the Resistance. I don't know for sure, but probably with the same care and detail put into it, and that's going to be awesome. I mean, that's a few years away supposedly, but if this is not the e-ticket attraction, just so everyone knows, it'll still be pretty awesome, I'm sure. But then the Quinjet one is the one I'm looking forward to seeing a lot. It'll be the first Avengers attraction. There have been Spider-Man attractions. There's an Iron Man attraction in Hong Kong. But this will be the very first Avengers attraction, and it'll also incorporate Black Panther and other characters as well, which I think will be awesome. Where's your excitement level at for that?
I would say, like, if a scale 1 to 10,
11.
out of like 11 or 1,000%. Like, I'm beyond excited.
Yeah, I've always wanted to come out to California for the new attractions. Every time something opens, I've always been like, man, I wish I could go out there. I think that'll be the thing that gets me to go.
I know at some point they said that they plan on, like, they want to, like, reopen, like, try to open Avengers Campus, but just through the land, just for retail shopping. Or, like, just whenever, like, here on the West Coast. Like,
yeah,
they're trying to, like,
it seems...
We have California Adventures open, but only, like,
just the shops and the dining, though. And of course, like, the areas. But that'd be really cool. Stay tuned. We'll keep you guys updated on that.
Definitely.
I mean, it was supposed to open last year, so from what I understand, it's done. It's ready. But I think they're just waiting to reopen it. I don't know if they'll reopen it. I don't know if they'll open that land right when they open or not. But it'll open soon. It'll open this year, I'm sure, unless something crazy happens again.
We'll see.
Yeah. And then the Quinjet ride will open supposedly in 2, 3, 4 years, something like that. I don't think it'll be a whole 5 years before that ride comes. I think it'll be in the next 3 to 4, but I was just wondering if there was a significant one coming up.
Yeah, no.
I think it's possible we may see it by next year's D23 Expo, but I don't know that. It makes sense, but if not, then they'll probably talk a lot about it at the expo next year. All in all, though, this area will be awesome. I'm sure it'll be incredibly popular, being the first Disney Marvel area, the first Marvel Cinematic Universe area. And then, of course, they'll incorporate Guardians of the Galaxy Mission Breakout, which is already open and it has been for a while. They'll, of course, incorporate that, and that'll be cool as well for that to be in an area that's themed all to Marvel. I think that'll help a lot with the theming and the facade. And just for those of you who don't know, this area supposedly is located near Cars Land at Disney's California Adventure, and it will not be coming to Florida, at least not for a while, because Marvel has those contract agreements with Universal that basically until Universal gives the rights up, they can't use Marvel other than Guardians of the Galaxy and characters Universal doesn't use here in Florida. So until then, California will be the place to go, and it seems like they're going to do a great job with it. All right, and staying on the topic of Marvel, tomorrow, Friday, or tonight, midnight Pacific time, 3 a.m. Eastern time, episode 3 of WandaVision will be releasing. I don't know if you guys saw the episode the other day where I talked about episodes 1 and 2, but if you didn't, here is a recap of my thoughts. So, episode 1 and 2 came out, which I at first thought was a very interesting choice, for them to release 2 on one day. Both episodes are pretty short. The first one's without credits is 23 minutes, which is pretty short, and then the second is 30. But it makes sense. I mean, it's a sitcom show. The show goes very heavily into the sitcom style that you see in the trailers, and I liked it. I thought it was very different than what we normally see from Marvel. I thought it was very funny. I thought it was, at parts, it was pretty dark. Episode 1 was themed around the 50s. Episode 2 is themed around the 60s. I thought they pulled it off pretty well, but it felt pretty authentic to me, and I was very impressed. All right, and now we are going to get into some predictions for episode 3 of WandaVision. But first, Alex, we haven't really heard your thoughts on episode 1 and 2. So if you don't mind sharing just some brief thoughts about what you thought about the first two and just what you thought overall.
I liked it. Honestly, I liked it. It's interesting on how Disney went down this route with the whole like sitcom, old classic look with black and white. And it's also interesting on how like Disney is really taking advantage of their IPs and stuff just to get in depth with the characters and stuff, and get more you can understand the humor of them, you can understand every aspect of their personality traits on how they each act.
Yeah, I agree. As I said, the storytelling method of using the sitcoms, I thought, for the first two really worked. And I thought the first two episodes really did their job just introducing. The first one really introduced the setting and the tone of the show, and the second one started to bring us more towards where the show is going. And some people were complaining that there was only two, but, some people were complaining that it was too confusing, but, there's going to be 9 episodes, so it's fine. They'll eventually get it. And that brings us to, there's new episodes dropping starting tomorrow. Tomorrow, episode 3 is set in the 70s, so they're going to stay with the sitcom for this episode. So I wanted to go through a little bit of what we think will happen and what we maybe think won't happen. And even if we don't think it'll happen, what we would like to see in episode 3, if that makes sense. So, first of all, I think we will see a lot of the same elements from the first 2 episodes. A lot of comedy, a lot of stuff about specifically their relationship. I think we'll see the twins that I think they will be in the episode. From the trailers, that's what it seems like. But I think even more so than episode 2, I think we'll start to really understand what's going on, and what exactly is wrong with the town they're in, or how Wanda's being controlled. I think we'll start to see the direction the show is heading in a lot more. So that's my first prediction. What would your first prediction be? Or what would you like to see in the episode?
I think, yeah, like I think I would have to agree they're going to continue like more humor, like more like it's going to be more like when it's being moved in the 1970s. I think they're going to throw out a lot of references, like a lot, because I feel like the 70s around that time of age in Marvel, and if you pay attention throughout, I guess throughout like Marvel, like each scene how they have to appear cameos and stuff. I think we're definitely going to see cameos. That's for sure, because a lot has happened.
Yeah.
Through that time period.
Through
that time period. But yeah.
I definitely think this episode will be in color, based on how the last episode ended and the time period. So I think just the first two would be black and white. But that's just a technical aspect. I think we will start to get a sense if there is like an overall villain in this show that's not just Wanda and whoever's messing with her mind. I think we'll get more hints towards who that is, because there have been some theories of who it is from the first two episodes. But if there is one, I think we'll start to get some hints of that. I think we'll get introduced to some of the other main characters from the trailers. The agent from Ant-Man and the Wasp is going to be in this. And then I think there's another character. I think we'll get more information on the Monica Rambeau character from Captain Marvel, who was in the last episode, but we don't really know why she's there, what she's doing there. I think we'll get more information on her.
Ooh.
And I think so they let the media see episodes 1, 2, and 3 early. And even though they weren't releasing episode 3 until today, I think that's for a reason. I think episode 3 will really end probably on a cliffhanger, something like that. I think it'll be really the end of the introduction part of this show, and then the next 3 episodes will really pick up the pace. I think next week is when we'll start to see the pace really pick up, and the action of the show will probably start, and we'll probably start to get more towards the climax in the MCU style of the show, because supposedly the sitcoms are part of 6 episodes of the 9, but that doesn't mean they're the whole thing. I think we'll start to see what's outside of this reality, and just a bunch of things like that. And that's getting into episode 4 and beyond, but episode 3 I think will be largely sitcom based, just with hints thrown in there, just like the last 2. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, like kind of like the. Can I mention like other shows from like?
Yeah, that's one.
Probably in the 70s, like something like that 70s show, but like, or just other like. I'm trying to think like what other because I know they're referencing like kind of like other shows.
They're referencing.
Mainly, like,
they're referencing.
I know they like to keep it Marvel related, but inspired. Like that's what makes it so great on how, like the director of the show is just always like looking at other like films, but take inspiration and taking initiative notes and all that stuff. And I feel like that's what makes a great TV series.
They've said they're referencing the Brady Bunch in this episode, along with others. But they've said each one references 1 or 2 specifically, but as a whole, they try to take just the shows in the era as a whole. Like with the one for 2000s, it supposedly has references to things like Modern Family, Parks and Rec, and The Office. So that's an example of that. Maybe not what do you think we'll see, but what do you hope we'll see in tomorrow's episode?
Oh, man. When I mentioned about like going back on topic about with how Marvel was mentioning like the timeline periods and Marvel events, I feel like we could see like Hydra. Do you remember back in the 70s or like, and this may be a spoiler.
If it's about an old MCU movie, it's okay.
No, I'm just saying if anyone hasn't seen Endgame, but I'm pretty much at this point. If anyone's, I'm pretty sure everyone's seen Endgame at this point. But if anything, if not, but anyways, when Tony and Cap go visit his dad and stuff.
Yeah.
at the military base. But I don't know. Maybe Vision could pick up something. Well, we'll see though.
Well, they've already referenced Hydra once in the show in those commercials. The Hydra
Oh
logo was
yeah.
there, so they're definitely probably somehow connected to this whole thing. I know Sword is connected, which is, for those who don't know, that's a division of Shield. Nick Fury's in charge of that now in the MCU, so I have a feeling they're supposed, this is off topic, but there's supposedly going to be a guest, special guest sometime later in the season, like a big name actor, um, according to the actor of Vision. So if they're really going all in with Sword, I think that could be Nick Fury, but it could also be Doctor Strange since they're leading into that movie. We'll just see, but that's just my prediction there. That's for later in the season, though. Do you have any predictions of where this is going, of something we might see later in the season?
Definitely. I mean, we could see like the early days of Stephen Strange, like, but also kind of like ties almost into the multiverse of madness. So I think maybe we could get like a sneak peek reference or like something about the multiverse.
I think the way this series will end, I think because of all the powers that Wanda has, and she's trying to create these alternate realities for herself, supposedly from what we know. I think it will end the whole idea of the multiverse of madness in Spider-Man 3, all the multiverses being open. I think she's going to use her powers, whether it's accidental or on purpose, to crack open the multiverse, which will result in a lot of issues, of course, because
Oh
that's
yes.
I think that's where it's going. I think that'll be the end. And I also think at the
Yeah, I
very
think
end,
that. Sorry, go ahead.
I think at the very end, we'll probably get a post-credit scene at the very end of the series, either teasing Doctor Strange or teasing Spider-Man 3, because this is supposedly a three-parter: WandaVision, Spider-Man 3, and then Doctor Strange will close it out, which is cool. They're doing a shorter story than like a big. Apparently, they're doing more shorter stories in their phases right now, as opposed to like a 23 movie arc. So that's pretty cool. But I think we'll see a sneak peek at those movies. But I think that's what'll happen at the end. What were you gonna say though? Before that?
No, honestly, that it makes sense. That makes sense, honestly. Um, I do think that maybe we could maybe we could focus on Wonder more, like her dreaming, maybe waking up, but that probably won't be to the end. I feel like that'll be a big surprise, like and a big
Yeah,
lead up
I think
towards
I think we'll
multiverse of
start
madness and
seeing
Spider-Man
that.
3.
I think we'll start seeing that around 5 or 6, episode 5 or 6. Because there's gonna be big action sequences outside of the sitcoms, so that'll really be the
Oh
last few episodes, and then I think it'll end. I think episode 8 will be where it really sets up Doctor Strange, but of course the whole time it's leading there, of course. But yeah, that's really where I think it's going. I'm really looking forward to seeing this episode. I thought the first two were very enjoyable, even if they didn't scream Marvel or advance the MCU as a whole. They were just very entertaining, and I enjoyed them a lot. And I'm looking forward to episode 3, whether it does any of this stuff or it goes in a completely different direction. I think it'll be pretty great to watch. So I look forward to seeing that. All right, well, that'll do it for today's show. I want to thank all of you for listening and or watching today's show. We hope you enjoyed it, and we hope to see you tomorrow. But before we go, I'd love to remind you, if you enjoy this content, please subscribe, like, comment, share, follow us on Twitter or on Instagram. You can find us on Spotify and subscribe to the podcast if you want to listen to it in audio form. And don't forget, tomorrow we'll be discussing WandaVision in a spoiler-free manner. However, on Monday, we will be talking about it in full detail and full spoilers. So if you have a chance, be sure to watch it before then. And you can contribute with your thoughts, questions, concerns, whatever you may have about the show, theories, anything like that. You can send it into streamelements.com/relive the magic/tip, and we will read your comment on the show, or we will talk about whatever topics you send in on the show as well. I want to thank you all for listening, for watching, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.